Hello and welcome. I am Roy at Ninjazilla90, and today I will be doing a triple figure comparison on the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla's 2019, 2021, and 2024 figures. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. What's the deal? They all look the same. There's nothing different between the three except coming in different boxes, right? Well, no. They do have differences, and that's what I'm here to go over today. Mainly in the paint apps. But anyway, with that said, let's get started. And now here we have the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla 2019, the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla 2021, and last but not least, but he's still pretty much a beast, the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire Godzilla 2024 pre-evolved basic version. Now, technically, like I said, on the surface level, you're going to look at these figures and say, yeah, what's the deal? They all pretty much seem like the exact same figure, right? Well, yes and no. Because, really and truly, yeah, from this perspective that they're basically all the same sculpt, they all have the same level of articulation, and they were all, made from the same mold. Yeah, from that perspective. But when you look closer at them, when you look at the finer details, you will notice that there is distinct differences between the three. And yes, they are all worth owning. First things first, I will go over the different skin tones of each figure. And the skin tone, the paint apps on these skin tones are all different shades of charcoal gray. If you take a look, you notice that let's see if you notice the 2019 is kind of in between the lightest and the darkest, so that the 2019 would be in the middle. The darkest skin tone would be the 2021, and the lightest skin tone would be the 2024 pre-evolved. I'm just gonna bring them up close so you can see the differences. See how the 2019 is sort of like the it's more like a medium charcoal gray color. And I'm going to bring up the 2021, and yeah, as you can see, this one is much darker. And the 2024 pre-evolved version, much lighter than the other two. And also, there's differences with the paint apps around the eyes as well. As you can see, it's the eyes, the face and the eyes on the 2019, the King of the Monsters version right there. Here is the eyes on the 2021 and the paint apps on the face. As you can see, it is vastly different. And of course, the Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire 2024 2024 pre-evolved version. Also vastly different. And also, I would say this one does have a little bit more of the pink colorization on those gums, as you can see. A little bit more paint saturation on the gums on the 2024. They do have some pink gum saturation on the 2019, but it's not as noticeable. And yeah, the paint saturation on the gums on the Godzilla vs. Kong Godzilla 2021 figure, if you look at this one closely, it's non-existent. So yeah, that's another difference. And a big major difference, you can tell which figures which, besides the difference in colorization in skin tone and in the paint apps and the gums, is by opening the mouths on each figure. And let me bring down the tongues so you guys can see the vast differences in each figure. So yeah, now I have all the tongues down, and yeah, trying to get them all in focus so you can see the inside of each of the mouths and how the color schemes are all different. See how the 2019, the inside of the mouth is a very bright pink, as you can see. I'm trying to show that difference there. See how it's very bright pink, and the 2021 is a much darker pink. And the 2024, it's you do see it's more of a grayish pink inside the mouth of the 2024 Godzilla. So yeah, that's another difference. And another big difference I noticed with the 2019 and the 2024 in comparison to the 2021. The 2021, it doesn't look like the teeth are painted too much at all. The 2019, you do have some dry brushing, some bone white dry brushing on those teeth. So we do have that on the 2019. And yeah, where you see the teeth are more heavily painted and more visible is on the Godzilla X Kong, the New Empire pre-evolved 2024 version. So that is another vast difference. And another big difference you could tell in the paint apps on each one is definitely in the cracks and crevices in his skin. So if you look closely at the 2019, you'll see that this one does have some tan dry brushing and like some tan wash in between those cracks and crevices in his skin to make it look a little bit more realistic. So just bringing that up to show you guys. So it's kind of like a tannish green sort of. So you see that dry brushing, especially in those chest muscles. And if you take a look at the 2021, the 2021 doesn't have that. And taking a look at the 2024 Godzilla X Kong figure, this one also has big significant differences, because this one, instead of having light tan dry brushing, this one has sort of a light grayish tan dry brushing, sort of like wash going, you know, over like his chest muscles and stuff, and even going down the underbelly of his tail and everything. So that's another distinct detail with the 2024 that you don't see on the 2021. But we do have some tannish green dry brushing on the underbelly of the tail on the 2019. And we also see that in the legs, but we don't see any dry brushing that much at all whatsoever on the 2021. I think this one's just mainly one solid color. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm seeing it. So, yeah, about that. And of course, let's take a look at those toe claws on each figure, starting with the 2019. 2019, it does look like the paint apps on the toe claws is slightly darker than the rest of the body. Not so much on the fingers though, but you can definitely see that in the toe claws. The toe claws on the 2021 look pretty much the same exact colorization of the body if you look closely, so it doesn't look like Hiya Toys put very much effort into paint apps with their original release. But definitely you do see a distinct difference with the toe claws on the 2024 pre-evolved version. So that is another significant difference. So try to bring them all up close together so we can look at, yeah, the differences between Godzilla's toenails, technically. So yeah, they all look different when you really look at them. So yeah, he fell over. Also, let's take a look at those dorsal spines. So yeah, we can't be doing a figure comparison on Godzilla figures without comparing the dorsal spines. Come on now. What's Godzilla without dorsal spines? Not Godzilla, that's for sure. But anyway, starting with the 2019. As do you see with the rest of the body, you do see these light tan dry brushing there, and yeah, same is true with the dorsal spines. When you bring them up close, you look closely at those deep crevices in his dorsal spines, and you do see that light tan dry brushing there. So that is another distinct difference. And yeah, some dorsal spines more than others, you do see it right there at that lower bottom dorsal spine. And now let's compare that to the 2021, and yeah, it's just one solid color. Look at that. It's just dark charcoal gray. No dry brushing. But this is still a cool figure though. So, yeah. And of course, the 2024 pre-evolved, and yeah, actually you do see some of that light tan dry brushing in these dorsal spines as well, along with some of that light gray wash as well. So looking really nice. Now, of course, these figures are all painted up to represent different scenes in the different movies. I think this one is painted to replicate like that scene at night when he was fighting King Ghidorah, or going after King Ghidorah. This one is also painted to look like that scene. It was from the trailer from Godzilla vs. Kong, where he came out of the water and they were fighting on top of that big barge, and he was kind of like has like this wet look to him, and that's why he's dark, because this one is based off the scene where he's coming out the water, I believe. Or it could be based on the night scene where he's fighting Kong in Hong Kong. One of those two. Yeah, fighting Kong in Hong Kong. Yeah, how fitting. But anyway, moving right along to the 2024, and yeah, as you can see, this one is a much lighter tone. This one is from when he was sleeping in the Roman Colosseum, and then roaming through Egypt. So yeah, he was kind of in a dry desert environment at the beginning of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, and that's why this one has more of a drier environment paint scheme to him. Kind of like Motsugoji, kind of like the Emergence version. So kind of, think of it like that, sort of. Although this one doesn't have like a pile of dirt on him. It's not painted up to look dirty, but it's just like he's painted up to look like he's been like in drier areas. So that's pretty much where all the differences with these figures come in. And basically similarities, articulation is all the same, so we can all, they can all articulate the same. They can all look up the same way, look down the same way. Cranium revolvus the same way. So yeah, we can do that with practically all of them. So yep, cranium revolvus with all three figures. Arms all articulate the same with all three of them. Elbows all articulate the same. Wrists all articulate the same. Legs all articulate the same, and the tails, everything. Besides, the paint apps are all pretty much the same. So, articulation and sculpt with the figures, while with these three figures are pretty much where the similarities come in, but where the differences come in is the paint apps, and when you really look at the finer details with all three of these figures, that's where they start becoming more noticeable. But in order to notice the differences, you really have to have all three different variants in hand, and that's the only way you're really going to see it. And you really have to look at them closely. Like, for the average casual person, that might be like a casual fan, but might not be like a big time major Godzilla fan. They're not going to notice the differences right off the bat. They're just going to look at all three of these figures and they're going to be like, what's the deal? It's all the same figure in different boxes with different labels. But that's far from the truth. They're all vastly different. Especially when it comes to paint scheme, and that's a big difference. Now, skin tone, yes, they all are similar skin tones, but they're different shades. All different shades of charcoal gray. 2019, I would say he's a medium shade. 2021 is the darker shade, and the 2024 is the much lighter charcoal gray. So, yeah. I'm more than sure, getting them in shot, all in the view of the camera, that should be noticeable. Looking at them head on, like so. But like I said, to the average person, yeah, they're going to look at these figures and say, yeah, they're all the same, what's the deal? And I get that, each one of these costs about $50 a pop, so yeah, you're looking at about $150 right here. So yeah, that's $150 worth of blown money to somebody that really doesn't care too much for action figures or Godzilla. But to me, that's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm actually happy to have all three of these. And yeah, it's easy to get these figures confused with one another, especially if you don't know the differences. I highly doubt that Google Lens will even know the difference between all three of these. Because when I received my Godzilla, my Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla 2019 from the Godzilla store, and yes, I ordered this one from the Godzilla store, but they sent me this one instead, and I just recently bought this one from BigBadToyStore.com. So yeah, even the Godzilla store got them mixed up. I don't know how, because they should be well educated on that, but they got them mixed up, and I received the 2019 instead, but I still kept it because I didn't have that one at the time, but now I do. And of course, I got, like I said, the 2021. This is my most recent Hiya Toys Godzilla, up until I get the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla 1991. Now, unfortunately, Big Bad Toy Store has sold out of the basic version Godzilla. They've sold out of the basic version Godzilla 1991. I don't know how that slipped my mind, but Entertainment Earth does have that one, so I'm going to try to pre-order it from Entertainment Earth. So hopefully, I'll still be able to get it. But Big Bad still does have the Heat Ray version of the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic Godzilla 1991. So I'll end up getting that one too. So, but until then, I have my SH Monster Arts Godzilla 1991 to basically do a stand-in with my my King Ghidorah 91. So about that. But anyway, that pretty much concludes it for this figure comparison. I hope this shined a light on the similarities and differences between the Hiya Toys Exquisite Basic versions of all, three legendary Godzillas for now. Well, unless you want to count the 2014, but I'm talking about from the 2019 on up. That's what I'm talking about. So, like I said, I hope that gave more people some clarity on the differences between the three of these figures, other than just looking at them and saying what's the deal. They're all the same figure in different boxes, which is basically you're half right. They're the same figure as far as sculpt and articulation, but as far as paint apps and the movies that they're from, they're vastly different. So with that said, that pretty much concludes everything. As always, thank you guys all so much for watching. Your viewership is much appreciated. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. And to sum it all up, stay safe, take care, God bless, stay positive, stay powered up, and peace out.